I tell you something?
Yeah. He's not just my friend.
I am so proud of you.
There have been moments in history when someone has had the courage to stand up for what they believe in, and that one action changes everything.
Even if I try, even if I wanted to, my love, she keeps me warm. She keeps me warm.
We press play, don't press pause. Progress march on. With the veil over our eyes, we turn our back on the cause.
Selma is gone.
Strip away the fear, underneath it's all the same love. About time that we raised up.
Even if I try, even if I wanted to.
So here we are.
My love, she keeps me warm. She keeps me warm. She keeps me warm.
It gets better.
I'm a Marine, and I'm also gay.
I am living proof that all things are possible.
Well, if that didn't make you sick, maybe this will. Former Disney stars praise gay marriage decision. So children, teenagers, and tweens may recognize them from their years as the face of the Disney Channel, raising our next generation of children, right? But the opinions some performers voiced this week on same-sex marriage are anything but family-friendly. So this Demi Lovato, who began her career as a child star in Barney and Friends, later starred in a Disney Channel show Sunny with a Chance. She's now a judge in the X Factor. Upon hearing Wednesday's court a decision striking down a portion of the Defense of Marriage Act and allowing a judge to overturn California's Prop 8, she responded, "Gay, straight, lesbian, bi, no one is better than anyone else. What an incredible day for California and for equality," the troubled X-star said. She wasn't alone. Nick Jonas of the Jonas Brothers tweeted, "We are all equal and we have the right to love. So proud to be an American." Jonas Brothers were marketed as a family-friendly act, wearing purity rings on stage, vowing to remain chaste until marriage, and charting singles on the Christian Adult Contemporary chart earlier in their career. That was something we grew up with, and it's just like anything. I think you take some and leave some. So apparently, he wasn't born that way. The Disney Channel recently revealed its weaving homosexuality into the plot of one of its popular programs. The show Good Luck Charlie will feature a two-mother lesbian family in early 2014. Well, yeah, the traditional Disney's gone. They were completely bought out. So you have British embassy flies the flag for gay pride in France. Britain's embassy building in Paris will be adorned by a rainbow flag this weekend, and an official show of support for gay pride marches scheduled to take place in the French capital in London. British ambassador in Paris said, "I'm delighted to fly the rainbow flag over the embassy to mark this week and show our pride in our LGBT staff and our celebration of our diversity in our staff and our society. The British government supports lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transgenders, in fact, anyone who's confused about their sexuality, and they have rights to be confused around the world, and believes that no one should face prejudice and discrimination because of their sexual orientation or gender identity." Of course, unless you trying to fight for, to avoid the extermination of your people, well, then you're a racist. You're a racist and a bigot, if you like traditional families. So no free speech there. Sorry, no tolerance. We have no tolerance for that. But we're free to love. Chick-fil-A CEO, I don't know why he would even come out and say anything after the whole thing. Their actual spokesman, I think, had a heart attack during the whole debacle. They actually did speak up, and a bunch of intolerant, pro-gay agenda moving hordes of mobs of people just attacked him. The guy had a heart attack and died. Chickens don't tweet, but Chick-fil-A CEO Dan Cathy does. Cathy took a tweet. This is what's just unbelievable, is that if people, like I said in the last video on Wednesday, if people actually gave a shit about real issues like bombing Iraqis or Afghanis or Yemenis or Somalis or wherever, right? it's in their name. They don't give a shit, just as long as it's their own greedy, selfish motivations, right? So, evil Walmart. Well, stop going there. You know what I mean? If they're all about, let's protest Chick-fil-A. Let's ban everything. Paula Deen. But let's not stop buying products that are supporting slave labor, right? Let's not say, you know what, Foxconn, until you start making it better for your workers, so they're not jumping off the freaking roofs to where you have to put like these anti-suicide things. We're gonna stop buying their smartphones. But no, see, that conflicts with their own selfish motivations, right? See, I'm selfish myself because my selfish motivation is I want to preserve my people and I want to preserve our society, whatever is left of it. Can't speak on the behalf of people that are not white, blacks, Mexicans, Asians. I can't speak for them. I'm not black, I'm not Asian, I'm not Mexican. Yes, I am a human being, but I can't speak for you. That's too many fights, too many battles. Chickens don't tweet, but Chick-fil-A CEO Dan Cathy does. He took to Twitter after Wednesday's Supreme Court decision in favor of same-sex marriage to express his opposition to the controversial ruling. Sad day for our nation, he said. Founding fathers would be ashamed of our generation to abandon wisdom of the ages, replied cornerstone of strong societies. So, he later removed the tweet, and I wonder why. Pennsylvania Republican silences. See, that's when people do that and they tweet and then they withdraw whatever. It's usually like you get so used to the volunteerism of putting all your thoughts and everything into the algorithms, to the grid, right? This computer internet grid. Like I said, it's all about data mining. So and of course it can be used against you. So just getting a little too comfortable. So then reality sets in. Oh shit. Pennsylvania Republican silences gay lawmaker for open rebellion against God. So a Republican lawmaker told Newsworks he's silenced an openly gay member of Pennsylvania House on Wednesday because he was rebelling against God's law. This Representative Brian Sims, Democrat, Philadelphia, has attempted to commemorate the Supreme Court's ruling. Says his speech, however, was shut down by Representative Darrell Metcalf, Republican Butler, using a procedural maneuver. I did not believe that as a member of the body that I should allow someone to make comments such as he was preparing to make that ultimately were just open rebellion against what the Word of God has said, and what God has said, and just open rebellion against God's law. So, next up, Guatemala rejects Organization of American States' attempt to impose homosexual ideology. The president of Guatemala has rejected an attempt by this OMS to reach agreements that pro-family activists would lead to legalization of same-sex marriage. The foundation of Guatemalan society are the families, and we will comply with the moral values and ethics that our Constitution demands, he declared. The documents were titled The Inter-American Convention Against Racism, Racial Discrimination, and Related Forms of Intolerance. So the intolerant president refused to sign on to two documents saying that he found within them the things that we do not agree with. Oh, so I don't know. I might have to go to a tolerance course, right? Tolerance camp. So added the term sexual orientation to the list of categories protected from discrimination, paving the way for same-sex marriage to be legalized in the future. They always have these little beachheads, like in Ireland, the rape and incest clause and stuff. That's what they are. They're beachheads. They're legal precedents. They're constantly trying to push people in a direction they don't want to go. We are against all forms of discrimination, but we cannot allow that in the name of tolerance. International laws that give supposed rights to people of homosexual conduct. So, all right, next up. Britain to redefine husband and wife as part of same-sex marriage bill. The British government decided to return the traditional meaning of husband and wife as part of its new controversial The Marriage Same-Sex Couples Bill. And I understand that there's homosexuals, be they or lesbians, whatever, that I know that they're not all for this, just in-your-face stuff. I've seen comments recently, and whatever. I'm not gonna sit there and say God's gonna judge you. You know what I mean? I see things both ways. You know what I mean? Whether it's the whole thing where I was talking about preserving my people. You got to deal with that yourself. That's why I'm not really for the whole multiculturalism. We can agree to disagree. I have my own personal selfishness that comes out of me, where I want don't want my people to die out. So I mean, I know what multiculturalism it is. It's death of culture. So, and it's replaced by this synthetic, manufactured culture, and I know that. So I'm sorry, I can't ignore that. But I know that there's homosexuals out there, and they said that they're not for this. Is in your face, shoving it down people's throat, right? Sorry to use that phrase again, but you know, this husband where. Here will include a man or a woman in the same-sex marriage, as well as a man married to a woman. In a similar way, a wife will include a woman married to another woman, or a man married to a man. So, and this is the thing. It's about tax. It's about people who are for traditional values, who pay their taxes, who don't want to fund this, or they don't want to fund abortions, but they're being forced to. You know, it's like, you know, people that pay taxes and they fund F-35 stealth fighters or whatever, drones that go and bomb people, uranium-tipped bombs, and women and children and elderly people who are just completely innocent. And people, you know, they have what are they going to do to stop that, you know? But it's a pretty divisive issue. So, after granting foreign same-sex marriage, Canadian Senate now approves gay divorce bill. So again, this is all about legislation and legislating stuff that, you know, whatever. If people are going to do that, they're going to do it, no matter what. You know what I mean? Unless you start dragging them out of their houses and hanging them, and I'm not promoting that. I'm not saying that anybody should ever do that. It just shouldn't be promoted, because once again, a beachhead, once you create all these laws that are, quote, opening and open for these people, these groups, these minorities, then it's promoting it so the minority becomes almost a majority. So it says here that they're going to allow foreign homosexual couples to divorce after taking advantage of the country's liberal same-sex marriage law. Keep moving. TV will be a lot less gay next year, so they're going to prepare to reveal their fall schedules, and their cancellations. It says it will be a lot more heterosexual. So it says here that basically these gay shows are going to be going away. They said that what was the purpose? They didn't attract enough viewers. So people weren't for it, right? Or they just, the majority wasn't for it. Same-sex marriage support solidifies above 50%. So the polls say more majority Americans support it. So, you know, it was passed in the Supreme Court, and so that's justice. That's the people, the people's, the majority in that being heard, the voices being heard. Well, no, it's not. It's manipulating a minority. Obama faces an Africa hostile to gay rights. That's right. His trip to Africa challenges the depth of his support for gay rights by taking to a part of the globe where homosexuality can and does lead to arrest, harassment, discrimination, and even death. Damn Africans, you homophobes. Support for gay marriage high in developed nations. So developed nations means a highly engineered society. False. It's a false, the complete opposite of a natural society. That's what developed means. That's why they're hellholes. Obama provokes clash with African host over gay rights. So, in Senegal, homosexuality is illegal, which bans any improper or unnatural act with a person of the same sex. The Senegal president said here that his nation is not homophobic and is very tolerant. HIV and syphilis rising among gay Bangkok men, so it's on the rise, doubled from 2005 to 2011. Thousands of French protests mistreatment of young pro-family protesters sentenced to months in jail. French pro-family activists are organizing mass protests in other parts of the country against arrest and imprisonment of a young demonstrator who was allegedly routed up by police, sentenced to a minimum of 2 months in jail and placed in solitary confinement for his participation in a demonstration against homosexual marriage. UK could create the first 3-parent baby, so controversial in vitro fertilization technique would enable parents with mitochondrial disease to avoid passing the condition on to their children. Got to make the Uber kids, right? Another article about children in the womb. Babies could read each other's moods by 5 months of age, study finds. By 5 months, babies could match the sound they heard with an appropriate picture. Medical madness. UK man follows Angela Jolie's lead, has healthy prostate removed because of faulty gene. So we're just talking about Margaret Sanger's eugenic legacy. You probably already know this. Abortion and Planned Parenthood. Dub her as a feminist. For Sanger, female liberation was primarily about sexual liberation. Miley Cyrus wears underwear on Jimmy Kimmel Live. Shocks the TV show host. She's also got the androgynous thing going too. And we'll finish up here and return with part 4, hopefully the final part for today. This is GGN and I'm Darko. Thank you guys.